Okay, we're back again. Getting ready for the biggest start of the race this year, which is the medium class. 122 boats originally should start, but there have been quite a few cancellations, so we're now down to 98 boats on the same starting line, which is going to be a lot of fun, especially considering the fact there's very, very little wind. There's a slight breeze building up, I'd say one knot perhaps, and then obviously the current. A lot of the boats on the line here are not actually moving. They've anchored or they're just waiting. I don't know, Fleming, if you could go that way. If you look at this boat, number 283, that's an X35 with what looks like spanking new one sail sails. Looks really, really, really smart. Behind that is a local boat, Pritula, the one-off 11 meter. And you've got the handsome-looking green boat there. I can't see the number of the sail, 268. Yeah. So the combination of that kind of things, you know, the X99 and the Arrabbiata, which is the Sunfast 32, and the X35 really fast boats, and then the old conventional green boat there. Quite amazing. Yeah. I mean, look at the amount of boats. You've got an X332 there. You've got an X99, another X35, and you've got some real contenders here. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out of the start best. You know, there's a Luffer 37 there. So that's just to mention some of the, the conventional boats. And I saw that behind us a minute ago. We had the Polish black Caravella there with Thomas on it. Yeah. Fleming, are we filming? Are we on? Perhaps you could film behind me here. This boat here, the Polish 20950 Caravella, started 180. Last year he turned up for the race 3 days before with a boat that didn't even have any fittings mounted at all, no winches, no cam cleats, nothing, and spent 2 days getting the boat ready and did really well anyway. This year he says he's very prepared and has had a lot of time for training and preparation, so we're excited to see how he'll perform. And like I said, this is by far the biggest start tour. There are 98 boats on the starting line.
Wow.
And Fleming, let's just film back over there behind Tors and I at the boats as they prepare. A lot of them still got their engines running. A lot of them are still reversing, in fact.
But this year there's a lot more boats on the starting line. Can you explain why it's?
Yeah, sure.
Like
I'm just going to make sure we get the time here. It's 10:53, so 7 minutes till the next start. Yeah, towards this year we've decided not to split the bigger starts, and that's due to the fact that we've got a really, really wide starting line. I mean, how long do you think it is?
Yeah.
300 meters, something like that, 250
yeah.
meters. And quite honestly, that's more than enough space. I mean, I don't know if you noticed the last start. Some of the boats are 400 meters behind the line as they start.
Yeah.
Which is really very indicative of the kind of racers here, the kind of sailors here. Some of them are here to, die hard race, and some of the boats are just here to have to get around Fyn and say they sail the Silverrudder Challenge. Yeah? Yeah?
They got the shirt.
They got the T-shirt. They got the jersey.
Yeah.
Everybody is coming here for the T-shirt.
But Ole Ingman told me that you have more boats on the starting line this year because there's a better weather before the race.
Definitely.
So they could
definitely. All is very right.
come to Svendborg. I mean, this guy from Poland, it takes.
He arrived a few days ago. I mean, he's been here since Tuesday. Now, a lot of the people have actually been able to get here, not hindered by the bad weather. Last year it was really, really windy getting here, so we lost quite a lot of boats before the start.
So 1 week before, a lot of boats were entered Svendborg.
I think I posted something on Facebook on last Sunday, so literally a week before the race. The first 10 boats were already here. There's a really nice J122 owned by a Dutch sailor here. He parked his boat here 2 weeks ago. Wow. And I've been sort of cycling past his boat every day. So
they could stay here for free in the harbour 1 week before?
Well, reduced rates. They can stay here for very reduced rates, and then they can stay free for the few days before and the few days afterwards, which is a special deal we've done with Svendborg Harbour. I'd like to say thanks to Svendborg Harbour because they've really, really made a huge effort.
Christian Steffensen.
Yeah, exactly, Christian. Thanks, Christian. You've been a gem. I know he's made sure.
The Harbourmeister.
The Harbourmaster. He's intensified the cleaning and made sure everything's set. He's done really, really well. Yeah.
And we still have a lot of current here in Svendborg Sund. The wind is still under about 1 knot.
Oh, there's very little wind, still a knot, less than 1 meter per second.
And the wind will arrive at 12 o'clock?
I don't know. I've been talking to you for the last hour, so I haven't had time to look. But you keep asking that every half an hour, and the forecast was for much more wind at about 12 o'clock. So I got to say, I'm having to search very hard for the wind. I'm just pleased to see that the boats are actually leaving the sound. They're actually, drifting out with a little bit of movement. And it's interesting to see that even though there's very little wind, the boats that I expected to be at the front are at the front, due to the fact they had a more aggressive start. Yeah. That was a 4-minute signal we just got there. That's 4 minutes to the start.
But one question, Philip. The bigger boat, the bigger the boat you have,
That's 4 minutes. Sorry, Troll. That's a 4 minute signal. You can hear that.
Yeah.
4 minutes for the start of the medium class with 98 boats.
great.
Trolls.
The bigger the boat you have, the easier is it to sail around, or how would you
I think we
describe
have to
it?
talk about, I don't know about easy, but comfortable. In 5 or 6 or 8.
They have
well,
autopilot
listen,
on.
In 8 or 10 knots of wind, a 40-foot boat is much more comfortable to race because you quite often have a lot of the mod cons. I was on board the X55 yesterday, a beautiful boat, Shamix, which is the biggest boat of the fleet. And he said, Philip, my job is easy. You know, I've just got to use hydraulics and electrics to,
Wow.
to trim my sails and to hoist my sails. Where his son, who's in his X79,
Wow.
has to do everything manually. That's really hard work. So I'd say the guys on the Seascape 18s and the CB66s, they got a tough job ahead of them.
I mean, the bigger boat is probably faster around the Funen.
Much faster. And if you've got a lot more comfort, if it's cold at night, you can put the heating on and spend a few minutes down below once in a while. So it's a combination of comfort and weight. Don't forget the big
But
boats.
if you don't have the electric
Winches,
winches,
yeah.
then you have to fight with the sails.
Yeah, well, you do. That's right. And you know, you've got to, and remember the big boats have got big sails, and you can't pull up in the 300-meter Jenica up and down on you know by manual power. Or you can, but it's tough going. It's really tough going. Remember, there's only one person on the boat. You might get it up, but you've got to get the damn sail down again when it's filled. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I would just, the reason why I asked you to put your microphone closer to your mouth is Morten Brandt was very kind, and Rasmussen was very kind to just write to me saying, hey, Philip, put the microphone closer to your mouth. I can't hear you. Thanks, Morten. That's kind of you. Thanks for helping out. So, can you see the boats behind us, Fleming? Let's try commenting some of the boats there. Drifting slowly towards the line. There are 2 minutes and 13 seconds to go before the start of the medium class. And Fleming, I'd like you to try and film that way towards the shipyard. And I'll move out of your way without falling overboard. Just look at the amount of boats right there. I mean, I'd say of the 98 boats starting, you've got to have about 60 of them way away from the line. They're nowhere near the starting line. It's going to take them 10 minutes to drift over the line. And then you've got other boats right on the line, spack on, yeah? And they're the boats, you know, being perhaps a little bit more aggressive towards the start. I can see, unfortunately, Lars Skorbo in his Helbe Rassi 342 has crossed the line before the starting signal, which is in 1.5 minutes. That's a shame because that's going to cost him 30 seconds. And I know he's really keen. Lars is a good guy. He's the guy that raced in the LM22 that you put an article on last year on Meanboat.dk.
Oh yeah.
Can you see the boat starting, drifting towards the line? 1 minute, 20 seconds to go. You got the Arrabbiata, which is the Sunfast 32 there. A couple of X99s. They're going to be very competitive.
And it's scary for them because if they are over the line, it costs them 30 minutes.
Well, they can't. You're not allowed to return to the line. 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the 1 minute signal there. Yeah, Trolls, if you cross the line prematurely before the start goes, it's going to cost you a 30-minute penalty. And on the other hand, you're not allowed to return and recross the line like you are in a normal race because it would just be chaos having to go back up the line.
So you can speculate in that and take the 30 minutes?
You can't because then you'll just be disqualified.
Okay.
If we see a boat, for example, starting 15 minutes before, he says, well, 30 minutes is a good deal. I'll go for that today. Obviously, the Seascape team don't realize that there's a legal offense to do more than 5 knots in Svendborg Sandbo.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
a nice chat to them when they're finished here.
Wow.
I don't know. Okay.
Hope the
20
police is not
seconds
here.
To start. Can we film on the starting line here, Fleming? Film the start here. 20 seconds to start.
Perhaps
We're
get a
just behind the line.
get a little bit closer.
I'll sit down like this so you can.
Yeah.
You see the line there? Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. You can move a bit closer towards
Yeah.
the line. Yes, sir. Just talking to
The
the
closer the
photographer here.
better. We like
Get
that.
nice and close to the line here. Look at that bloke with the black sails there. I'm not sure what.
And
boat
that was the
is.
start?
That was the start that just went. That was the start
Nobody,
of the,
no one was over the line?
well, this one here, definitely the Helber Rassi.
Oh, yeah.
He's way over the line.
Oh, he's in the game also.
He's in the game as well. So he's the guy that was in the LM22 last year.
It seems like it's an X99 who won the start.
Yeah, two X99s, perhaps the X35, which is just rolling out his code 0. You see that? The one to windward there. And then the Arrabbiata, which is struggling. He's almost just going sideways. This boat closest to us here, Fleming, here. Can you see this? Where the number in the sail is 169. That's an 11-meter Petrula, an 11-meter 1 design. Very light, small, fast boat compared to the fact that it is in the medium class. So huge difference in the type of boats. And just behind him, can you see the X79, which has had the 6707 on the mainsail.
There's also an X35. I think.
Struggling to get, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Struggling to get his code 0 out. It seems to be tangled up. I think his lines are tangled underneath the bow.
So
let's try filming up the fleet a little bit. I mean, just towards the light blue boat, which is also an X99. Just so we have a point of reference.
But the conclusion is that the sailors are very conservative. They are very, far away from the line, starting line.
Well, you know, a few people asked me yesterday, how should I start? And I said, this is a very mixed race. So if I were you, and if you're an aggressive sailor and a keen sailor, an experienced sailor, I would start right up on the line. Because if you look here, trying to get clear air in a fleet of 100 boats is difficult. Whereas look at this Petroleum 1 design and the X99s, you know, they've got free air, they can just go. So my advice was to get across the line right as the gun goes.
But today is not about wind so much, it's more about the current.
I don't know. Yeah, you've got to have current, but I'll be quite honest with you, Toles. I got to be honest with you.
We are not agree there.
Well, no. The reason why I'm saying that is because if you get stuck behind in a bunch of 20 boats, yeah, and you haven't got free air, then you just be stuck there for the rest of the next 2 hours, leaving the sound. So if you're to windward here, you get free air and free
you need a little bit wind to
yeah, okay. You just need a little bit of wind to move.
Yeah.
Look, a lot of the boats are drifting onto the grounds over there. Okay. Quite a few boats are drifting onto the grounds. If they don't be careful, they actually will go aground if they don't drop their anchors.
Wow.
They're being pushed into the starboard sound. They're going to need a little bit of wind to get them free. So that's another good reason.
And then it's not allowed to start the motor.
No. So they have to put anchor until there's a little bit of wind that they can pull them free. Are we still filming, Fleming? Okay, no. Okay, that's great. Okay. So you got a J97 here to windward here. And there's a nice looking X332 there with dark blue. He's still got his fenders out just in case he gets too close to the other boats. You see?
Wow.
It's a new tactic. You want some wind resistance.
It's not looking good.
No, it's a good looking boat.
And an old boat with a wooden mast.
Yeah, isn't that great? Isn't that nice, Toles? That's
Yeah.
such a combination of.
It must be a German.
And isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it says 268. But isn't it nice to see, you know, these really fast boats, the X99s and the X35s, and then you've got a beautiful old-fashioned wooden boat with a wooden bowsprit.
But you know, that's what I like with Silverrudder. That's you have so many different boats. They come from Germany. They come from more than 10 countries.
That's right. Yeah.
Are in the race.
And that was one of the points when they originally organized Silverrudder, is to not use the DH or IOR measurement rules, but to just go, you know, one man in his boat.
Make it simple.
Simple concept. No buoys, no rules other than make sure you stay within the category, make sure your boat fulfills the rules with regarding to safety, and you can put any sails or any bowsprits or any appendages on your boat you want, which is great. So you get people with all kinds of stuff on their boats. Let's see who we've got ahead of us here. You see, quite a few boats don't have their flags on. In fact, they're used to racing, so they're used to not having to use their flags. This is Mads Groth's father, John Groth, in the Diller 34 SV, and you've got the Thomas there in the Caravella, which is a good-looking boat. He's a guy I told you have been here for a whole week in advance, getting prepared. We just really would like a little bit more wind. Just want 2 knots.
It will take a long time to get this fleet over the line this time.
No, it's going to take all day and all night to get them over the line.
Also because I think the current has dropped down.
I'm not sure if it has yet. It's difficult because
I think it has.
We're out of the current just now. Yeah, you may be right that there's less current out in the water. I mean, we're
just
on
a
the
half
border,
knot slower, or
probably,
something.
which is a bit early really, because it wasn't supposed to reduce until around midday. Yeah, they're really struggling to cross the line. A lot of the boats, they're probably still about 50 of the 98 boats that haven't crossed the line yet. Wouldn't you say, Tours?
Yeah.
The weather's fantastic. If only we just had a little bit of wind, because the conditions are absolutely splendid. Just imagine we can have this kind of weather.
Philip, you have sailed this race before.
Yeah.
How many times?
I've attempted to 4 times, and I've only completed twice, though.
Okay.
I did actually win my start 1 year, though, so I'm not a complete failure.
I'm not a solo sailor type, but are you trying not to get on the deck? I mean, I'm afraid of falling in the water.
No, not at all. No, because And the majority of these guys will have practiced so much, they'll be so experienced sailors that they're very, very confident with their movements on the deck. I mean, they walk on a boat like the rest of us walk when they go to the bathroom. I mean,
Wow.
they're very, very confident about their boats. They know exactly where all the fittings are on deck, and so certainly not. A lot of people that are not sailors, land-based people, will say, "Well, surely they don't go onto the deck at night," but they do. They take precautions. They wear their safety lines. They don't go onto the foredeck if it's very, very windy. You know, they make sure that they're sort of just sort of on the border of their comfort zone all the time.
But you know, I bought a pier for my Boeing 10-meter sailing.
Yeah.
Because, so if I fall in the water, there's coming in a helicopter and pick me
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Is there somebody who also sailing the pier here?
A lot of people use these emergency position indicating radio beacons that you're talking about, the EPIRBs.
Okay.
A lot of people have what they call is PLBs, personal locating beacons. You have different models. One which is straight up to the Cospas satellite.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Which has to be activated. Yeah, the EPIRB, as you call it. And then you have the AIS transponders, which just transmit a signal with dots that you can see on your radar. Now, both are really effective. I think actually you get models that do both, which is the best solution. If you fall and knock your head, and you don't have an automatic release system, so it automatically activates, then you
And
it
it's
isn't worth much.
price for that is among 300 euros. It's not that.
No, it's not that expensive.
It's cheap for a life.
I have one here. Look, you can't film it because the photographer's looking the other way, but I have one in my life.
Wow.
Which is a great place to put it. I can just pull it out.
But don't use it now if you fall.
No. It's because I sail a lot alone as well.
We'll pick you up,
Well,
Philip.
a few years ago I was sailing and I suddenly got a real pain in my chest, and I wasn't sick, but I thought, good heavens, just imagine if I do really have an accident or I'm sick one day. So I decided to buy one the very next day, and I use it when I fish in the winter as well. I do a lot of fishing off Multihull and stuff as well. So it makes really good sense to have them, and considering the amount of money we use on sails and on other safety equipment on boats, it really is a very limited expense. So I think you'll find that probably about 50% of the boats are carrying
compared
them
to
now.
buying a new sail.
Sure, a code zero for these boats with a roll costs 30,000 kroner.
But then you said there's some people on ground here.
Fleming, could you film over here, do you think?
So how could they get there, Philip?
I'll explain to you in just a second. As soon as Fleming, our photographer, has just filmed that, just get out of the way.
It's
The
about
boats at the bottom of the bay there.
7 boats on
There are
ground.
7 boats that have drifted into the bay, and that's due to the current.
Oh,
There's
not
a
on
small-
ground, but they can get on
No,
ground.
they're quite likely to be aground in there. They're probably gone aground because the water goes under the bridge, under the bridge to Truro.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously some of the water that's going out into the grey belt will go that way, whereas the majority of the water goes through the sound. So they'll have been sucked that way.
So that's
So they're not
so
going to
the
be
fleet
able,
has to take care not to get too close there.
Yeah, and they'll definitely be, those boats will definitely be aground because I know that area very well from my fishing days, and they'll be stuck there until either there's more high tide or there's more wind to bring them off.
Perhaps therefore we saw your friend Søren Juhl on
the other side, yeah, it could well
he
be.
was on this
I
side.
think just you'll realise that it's a much shorter distance. You know, and this guy here behind us here in this aluminium boat, he's going to definitely benefit from the fact that he's just sailed a much shorter distance.
He gets some wind now.
Maybe. I don't know, I can't recognise him because he is in breach of the rules because he doesn't have any identification number in the mainsail at all.
Wow.
Yeah, he would be disqualified for that if we knew who he is. Fortunately, we don't know who he is, so that's that.
Yeah.
There's another friend of mine there, Jakob, sitting in his banner 30 behind there. Yeah. And just look at the way the fleet's just slowly drifting out there. It looks as though they've got more wind to windward where we are than to leeward on the other side near the forest over there. Just drifting out slowly, but there's very little wind. Can you feel a little bit of breeze? Oh,
Yeah, I can.
Looking at the water, I
From
think there is a little bit of
breeze from west.
a slight breeze from the west, yeah. But it seems to be very, very local. It's just here. This could be the beginning of the wind that would forecast for around 12 o'clock. Hopefully.
Another challenge for the race is that they need power for the navigation and for the light. What are the people doing? They had extra batteries or?
There's one boat, one of the Dela 30 ODs, and one of the sailors came and saw me today, and he said, "Philip, what should I do? I've chartered this boat, and I've just discovered I only have 90 amp hours on my battery. Is that going to be enough?" And I said, "Well, it depends how much you use your autopilot and instruments and navigational lights and so on. I think that would probably be enough. Not if he's got a fridge or a heater running."
Oh yeah.
This boat here is there's a boat quite next to us here who's going to go aground any second now. There's no water there.
Oh.
Der er ikke noget vand deroppe. Der er ikke noget vand derinde. Okay, I was just warning a boat that's there's very little
Let's
water
see
in
if
there.
he. Okay.
Good.
He
Yes,
tried
he's
it.
been here yesterday. Good. Well, good luck. Well, he's got a good position because there is actually a little bit of wind here. So he's
Yeah.
there's an old, handsome-looking
I'll have a
aluminium
nice
boat.
picture of him
yeah,
when
do
he's
that.
on ground.
When he goes,
If he's, we
he
don't
might just
hope
go clear. We're literally, I'm telling you, we're meters away from going around. Have you got Polaroid sunglasses on?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, then you can see behind him. You can see the shoals. It's one of my favorite coastal fishing spots.
Wow.
Yeah. Fleming. This boat here is that the Fleming is filming. Is called an Impala 33, and it's by far the most good-looking Impala 33 with the skipper John Jørgensen. And he's not only
He's from here, from Svendborg?
No,
or?
he's from Duvie in the south of Jutland. I mean,
Oh,
he's an artist with wood. I mean, he can do things with wood that nobody else can. It's got a carbon fiber mast, and it's actually built locally here. But he's a real craftsman and a very good sailor. And nice to see that he's got a little bit of wind in his sails. And behind him there is the Banner 13.
But you know, wood is
Jacobsen.
heavy.
Yeah, it is heavy, but that's
But it's beautiful.
It's really, really well kept. It's beautifully maintained. Yeah.
Even the steering wheel is
Everything. It's got double steering wheels, which is quite unconventional for a relatively small boat. The boat's in actually a meticulous condition. Yeah.
So this is an Impala 33.
That's an Impala 33,
Really,
yeah.
our
What?
dream.
Yeah, that's an Impala 33.
Is he a boat builder or what?
No, he's not actually. He's just very dedicated.
Yeah.
He's just really, really good. That's what he does. He messes around with wood. Okay, we're going to round off now. We can't continue to drift with the fleet much longer, so what we're going to do is we're going to move back up to the starting line and get ready for the large start. See you in a few minutes.